2, 3, 4.
Buenos dias, mis hermanos y hermanas, y feliz cumpleaños, our Good Morning Guys podcast on this, our 52nd episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. With me tonight, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news and spoilers, the hater of cute robots and cooking rats, the master of bathroom remodeling and Toys R Us jingle singing, always rocking that classic Zach Morris phone, our very own Kid Novi, a man who spends his free time taking photos of marriage proposals and singing a variety of country's theme songs, the 24-hour extra life streaming, snake venom sucking, off-brand Pop-Tart buying son of a gun, Patrick Novosel.
Yeah, whoa. If you don't call me that from now on, we're not friends anymore.
Fair enough. Also with us, our volleyballing beast of the East who can make you laugh in 3 words or less, Tiger Woods' biggest fan on the 18th hole, the man who's watched more paint dry than modern movies, the maverick of our podcast and the Top Gun of competitive tank gaming, the man who's probably still trying to decide if he'd rather have a velociraptor or horse dog as a pet, the robo-vacuum stalking, Andrew Luckbug clubbing, SpongeBob SquarePants but not Superman, watching and dancing fool Ronnie Johantges.
I like that. What was the Tiger Woods reference? What was that from?
I'll be honest, I don't remember. But it was within the first 10 episodes. And our third member of this garbage truck on fire, the man with music in his heart, Doctor Who on his brain, and La Carrera in his estomago, the Fairchild Channel F console fanboy and future investor in the Channel G, the captain of the USS TARDIS, or Tartarus, and our resident Dr. Whovian expert, the Munch One Burger, the man who throws the most low-key weekend parties, Pitbull style, the youth group scaring, lapdog cuddling, parent signature forging, East Coast thug of a mug, Marc Boucher.
Somebody went back and listened to old episodes.
Thug of a mug.
Maybe. And finally, I am your final member of the GMG Quadfecta, the Brazilian mountaineer and transition ninja, the only sucker who bought an Atari Jaguar, the guy who knows more about rice than Doctor Who, the satellite moving man, the man who'd rather wear socks with sandals in public than own a lapdog, the Nintendo classic gaming, carpet coloring, glorified babysitting, teaching dude in Brazil, Lucas Ham Swisher.
Hold on, let's go back. You said you would rather wear sandals with socks than have a lapdog? I don't remember that.
Well,
yeah, he has definitely said he doesn't want a lapdog. So.
Time to remind you of the past. Folks, if this is your first time joining us, we just caught you up on most of our show nicknames from this past year. Or I did. If it's not your first time joining us, well, you just got reminded of all the nicknames, or most of the nicknames, that we've used in this past year.
Did you miss some?
I probably did. I honestly, I didn't want to go back and listen to all of them, so I just got a lot of my old scripts that I had saved, and I just glanced over a lot of them. Probably around the teens, we started to stick with the ones we have, but I think there's probably more, but I didn't get all of them, so I did my best. I got as many as I could. And in fact, I honestly, Ronnie, cannot remember why I made mention of you being some kind of Tiger Woods, his biggest fan on the 18th hole. I don't know.
I think it may have been back when I
Didn't
think he
win
won a
early this
major,
year?
and I watched like the only the 18th hole. I think that may have been it.
That might have been the reference. Woo, guys, we have made it, or we're about to have made it through 52 episodes, 1 year of podcasting. How's it feel?
Great. It's been great.
Awesome. It's been awesome.
Stimulating.
Wow.
I
That
would
was a little
not have
weird.
gone with that one.
Well, it's not much else I can add to follow that up. So, why don't we jump, as we usually do, right into what's new news? Let's talk about a little bit about our personal lives, what's been getting our attention this week, before we jump into our very fun and exciting topic of the show. So, Mark, would you like to start us out?
No. But I will anyway.
Fantastic. Okay, that's good. All right, buddy, jump right in. What's been going on?
Okay, so this past week has been the week of celebrations. Because basically last Thursday was my birthday, as many of you know. And so basically I went through like a 3-day birthday party celebration. And so Thursday was, of course, my birthday. And thank you so much for everybody who sent well wishes. I'm very thankful. It definitely makes me feel special. One of my love languages, if you've ever heard of the 5 love languages or whatever, is words of encouragement. And so when somebody gives me well wishes and actually thinks of me, even if Facebook reminds you, it still makes me feel good. So much appreciated. And so Thursday was round 1 of birthday time. Went out to La Coretta, of course.
Of course. That's
With
why it's in
my
your
wife.
stomach.
Yep. Went out with my wife. Just her and I for my birthday. Got the traditional La Coretta birthday celebration at the restaurant.
Did you get another sombrero?
I did indeed. Now, here's the thing. They kind of forgot it at first. And because you have to kind of let people know, like, hey, it's this person's birthday. And they came out to sing, but then they didn't give me this. They didn't put the sombrero on my head. So if you saw the video that I posted on Twitter, the sombrero is not on my head. And so I talked to Kristen afterwards, and I'm like, man, they didn't give me a sombrero.
Yeah, you should have gotten the meal free for that one.
Totally. Maybe they'll reimburse me. I don't know. But the waiter actually came to our table afterwards, and I was like, hey, are you guys out of sombreros, or what's going on? He's like, no, we got sombreros. And so he brought one out to me. So I posted that picture in addition to my first video post. So I did get another sombrero to add to the collection. And then right after that, we went to Target and got one of my birthday presents, which was a shirt.
Yeah.
But it was a nice polo shirt because I needed more polos. But part 2 of my birthday present was money to go towards whatever I wished.
Real quick, the polo shirt, was that like you were given anything to pick out and you picked a polo shirt, or was this like, mom getting you socks for Christmas?
It was a stipulation.
Gotcha.
It was a part 1 of 2. It's like, okay, we're gonna get your birthday present, but one of them needs to be some sort of a nice polo shirt you can wear because I needed more
big boy clothes.
Yep. So got one of those, and then we tried looking around like we were at the mall and stuff, and there was just nothing. I didn't know what I wanted for my birthday, honestly. And there was kind of a limit to how much I could spend. And I just wasn't seeing anything that was like, man, I just want that for my birthday. So Kristen was like, well, you can just take this money and put it towards whatever you want in the future. So I was like, okay, awesome. And then, of course, Thursday night, we had the old birthday stream on the Twitch channel, the GMG Twitch channel.
Oh, yeah. Party time.
At one point, we had probably about 16 people.
I saw 17.
I thought it was more than that.
Did you?
I thought it was in the 20s.
Was it?
Oh, really?
Okay.
I thought it was in the 30s.
I thought it was in the 40s.
Yep. Let's just round up to 100. I think that was about what it was.
I feel like what you're thinking is not actually what happened, so we're going to go with that.
No, in all honesty, I saw 17 was the highest I saw.
Okay. But still, plenty of people came out.
Yeah, it was great.
Many, many thanks to everybody who came out and
That chat was blowing up.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, people were counting and everything.
Unfollowing, then following again.
Posting rude comments. And...
It's a good thing Patrick and I were there to keep them under control.
Good thing we were the moderators.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep, this kind of showed me I do need to get a mod for the GMG Twitch channel because we had a couple
Yeah,
of
what
party
happened
crashers.
in there? There was something that happened during the chat that I missed. That apparently we needed a mod. Did someone say something, or someone jump in and say something during the chat?
Yeah, I forget what song I was singing. Nope, I can't remember, but I was singing a song, and all of a sudden these two particular people came into the chat, and number one, they were like spamming follows, which was annoying the crap out of me because I was in the middle of a game. We're playing Apex,
Yeah.
and I kept getting this follow notification every second because he kept like following, unfollowing, following, unfollowing, following, unfollowing. So it was really annoying, and then they just made a couple of really rude comments. One told me to STFU, and I'll let you fill in what that is.
Oh my!
And then another one made a very rude comment, I guess pertaining to my weight or my size.
Oh man!
So
That's not cool.
No.
yeah, but
Definitely not.
they kind of disappeared after that, so it was just trolls being trolls. So it's whatever.
I always thought you were really sexy, Bark, if that makes a
Oh
difference.
well, I appreciate that. But other than that, no, it was a great time. We went from about 9 o'clock Eastern to right about midnight. A lot of people were having fun in there. Those who were squatting up with me, thank you so much to Sheldor, of course, and Eric East.
Bengal Man.
Yeah.
The old Bengal Man was in there. And then I believe Spencer jumped in afterwards.
Yeah. I had no idea he was in your party until you guys started like talking to a ghost.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, and then we started talking about how we couldn't hear a voice. And Spencer, I think, had to change his settings in his PlayStation, and then we could hear his voice. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's kind of the annoying thing about broadcasting with PS4 is like you have to basically have everybody check off this checkbox that says allow audio to be streamed on broadcasts.
Yeah.
Which I guess I get it, but it's just kind of annoying that you have to do it like, or it feels like you have to do it like every time that you stream and have somebody in your party, but it's whatever. But yeah, definitely had a great time with that. So it was a good birthday, and then birthday part 2.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I'm honestly asking out of curiosity because I didn't make it all the way to midnight. I was a fuddy-duddy and needed to get my beauty rest. But did you guys get a win at all?
Nope.
All right.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry to be a downer.
It's kind of a weak night for W's.
But you had fun doing it.
We
so
did have fun,
That's what counts.
and I was knocking out some challenges, so that's
You
always
got
good.
a good participation award.
Yes, and it's never a complete loss whenever you're knocking out challenges, because
That's true.
Even if you
True.
don't win, you're still gaining XP and leveling up your character. So that's been awesome.
And Lim joined your chat too.
Yeah,
he wasn't in your party, but he did join the chat.
Yeah, he was actually in the party to start with because I think he and Jonathan were playing Warframe before we started the stream. But yeah, it was great to have my unofficial cousin in the stream. And that's a story I'll tell you another time. But I call Lem my cousin, or he calls me his cousin.
Nice.
But in any case, yeah, definitely a great time. And then birthday part 2 was on Friday night, where my in-laws actually took me out to dinner.
Nice.
And I also received some money and a gift card to Dunkin' Donuts from them. So that was awesome. So I took the money that I got from the from birthday part 1 plus the money from birthday part 2 and went ahead and purchased Borderlands 3.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which, announcement time, I will be streaming on the Good Morning Guys Twitch channel.
Yes.
So that will be happening. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do schedule-wise for that. But as soon as I figure it out, I will let y'all know.
When is that coming out?
Nice.
So it comes out September 13th.
Okay.
So about a week or so away, which
Very
I'm
cool.
very excited about. So yeah, birthday part 2 went out to it's kind of a somewhat upscale Italian place. Like it's more known for its like brick oven pizza and that kind of stuff. It's called Waterstone Pizza, and it is so good. Absolutely,
Number one ingredient to pizza is water.
Yeah.
That's not correct.
I thought it was
Apparently,
butter.
you were not listening last week.
Paprika. My bad.
That's why you didn't win Bamboozled.
That's true.
That is why Ronnie and Mark both won. Hey, speaking of that, Mark, I messed up last week. The Bamboozled before when we did the international one, you actually were the winner of that. So, so far, Ronnie's won 2, and you have won 2. And Patrick, you have come so close and failed.
So I've been bamboozled.
No, actually, Ronnie's the only one who's been bamboozled in the second match. You just
Oh.
lost.
No, I just lost.
Yeah, you just lost.
But yeah, so obviously the night went on after that. Food at Waterstone Pizza was awesome as usual. And then from there we kind of moved on to my in-laws' house, where my mother and father-in-law purchased cake, which is always good.
Yum.
And we played some Exploding Kittens,
Naturally.
There you go.
which was a wonderful time indeed. And so that was awesome. And then Saturday was birthday party part 3,
Get
Look
out
at
of here.
you, man.
Yeah.
You are, my goodness.
where I had some buddies that were in from out of town. One that just recently moved to DC. One that lives in North Carolina, and he was just like, "Hey,
You mean North Kakalaki?
North Kakalaki, excuse me,
Yep.
pardon me." But yeah, they were like, "Yeah, so we're coming into town, and we want to take you out to dinner for your birthday. When do you want to meet up?" And so I was thinking about, well, every time we meet up, we end up going to. I'm sure you guys have Texas Roadhouse, where you guys.
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
given I work there,
Yeah.
I know a little bit about Texas
That's
Roadhouse.
right. That's right.
Oh,
But I was like, man, every time we meet up, we end up going to Texas Roadhouse. I want to go somewhere else, someplace different for my birthday. And I was thinking about it, and there's this new barbecue place that opened up, and it's called Small Batch Barbecue. And the food there is fantastic.
What kind of food is it?
It's barbecue, so
he said barbecue place.
So, what I meant to say
it's seafood. It's totally
was
seafood.
what kind of meat did you get?
Great seafood place.
Turns out the
So you
sign
can-
fell off, and there was a Long John Silver's underneath.
Yes. I meant what kind of meat you got, because you can barbecue anything.
Oh yeah. So
What kind of barbecued food did you get?
I got a pulled pork sandwich.
Good save.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had some
Nice.
friends that got brisket and some sort of sausage with like jalapeno and cheese inside of it and stuff like that. So yeah, but I got the pulled pork sandwich, which was amazing. And we had a great time, and they paid for my dinner, so that was awesome. So, but that was the end of the birthday celebration. And then today, which as of this recording, we are recording on Labor Day. So happy Labor Day to everybody. I guess
Yeah.
specifically in America. I don't think they celebrate it.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I was just telling somebody today that this is the first time I've celebrated Labor Day. I think it was on the Discord. I was telling people there, I haven't celebrated Labor Day since 2011.
Wow.
All the others have been in Brazil, and they do not have Labor. They have a Labor Day, but it's not at the beginning of September.
Right.
So,
But more importantly, in addition to it being Labor Day, today is my wife and I's 2-year anniversary. 2 in year.
2 in year. Congrats, man.
Yeah, congrats, man.
2 years. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Thank you. Which, I mean, I know I'm probably, towards the lower end compared to a lot of people in our group here and in our community, but still, 2 years is pretty awesome.
Not at
Yeah,
the
man.
bottom, though. You are not at the
Yeah.
bottom, sir.
Well, not a competition, so
Good save. Good save.
but in any case, so I asked Kristen, I said, what do you want to do for our anniversary? Like, what do you want to do?
She said Texas Roadhouse, didn't she?
She absolutely did not say Texas
Oh,
Roadhouse.
dang.
She was like, nothing. I just want to stay home and just chill out. And so that's
Nice.
exactly what we did.
And you found a good one.
Yeah. So she's like, let's order pizza. So we ordered Domino's, which was fantastic. And we actually watched a couple of movies this morning that I did not intend on watching, but we just were like, let's see what's on Netflix. And they just happened to be two movies that kind of complement each other. So the first movie we watched together was Mary Poppins Returns. And
Very good. That's a good flick.
This was actually a really good movie, and I think a worthy successor to the first one.
For sure.
Now, obviously, the first Mary Poppins is classic in its own right. Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke, just wonderful in those movies. But I think Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins did an awesome job, and it was very reminiscent of the first movie. And I think that's the route you need to go. You don't need to go anywhere crazy with it. And the whole movie just kind of made sense, and it gave you that same sort of warm feeling that Mary Poppins, the first one, did.
Yep.
So it was awesome. I very much enjoyed it. And then afterwards, we watched a movie called Saving Mr. Banks, which, if you are not familiar with what that movie is, it's starring Tom Hanks, Emma Thompson, Paul Giamatti's in it, Meryl Streep is in it at one point. And basically, it is the story of how Walt Disney obtained the rights to Mary Poppins. Because if you're not familiar, Mary Poppins was actually based on a series of books from a lady. Her name is P.L. Travers. And this is the story of Walt trying to gain the rights so they can go ahead and make Mary Poppins. And P.L. Travers was very particular about this movie being made and the specifics of it, because this character was essentially a part of her family. It was somebody that was based on a lot of things that happened in her own life, a lot of trauma in her own life. And so if she was going to sign something like this over, it was going to need to be done her way, on her terms. And so this basically the story of that, of understanding P.L. Travers and the life that she lived, what she went through. And it sort of went back and forth between flashbacks of her life growing up, and then this whole scenario of Walt trying to, convince her to sign the rights over so that they could make Mary Poppins. And it was a great movie. They did a great job with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But otherwise, that was pretty much my week at a glance. So, Patrick, how was your
Hello.
week?
It was it's pretty simple. Nothing really crazy happened. I think there's two things of note. My wife's parents had a donut party for everyone in the family. They deep fried some batter that created like donuts, and then they had a whole bunch of toppings on there. They had like 5 different icings. They had like maple, chocolate, vanilla, Reese's peanut butter cup, and another one I can't remember. But then they had all these toppings. They had bacon, they had Oreos, and they had all these different kinds of toppings, which was really awesome. But I think they made probably maybe 70, 75 donuts. I only had 2 because when you're making your own donut, you're putting everything on it. This is because when you go to like the Dunkin' Donuts, they put a little bit on there. That's not the way I make mine. I'm putting everything on there. It's piling up 2 inches high. So
nice.
It was good. That was a good time. And then on Thursday morning, my mom had back surgery. It was her second back surgery. She had one a little bit ago, and the surgery didn't correct what they needed to correct totally. So they need to go back in there and do whatever else they needed to do to help her back, to help her walk straight, because she started to use a cane and started to use a walker because of her back hurting so much. So she went back in and got another surgery. So I stayed with her. For about 4 hours on Saturday. She was at the hospital for a couple days. So I stayed with her. And she's getting better. But I don't know how doctors do it. Like for me, the sight of blood or stitches or incisions and all that stuff, it freaks me out looking at the end result. I just can't imagine doctors getting in there and say, oh, this is fine. Like they're okay with it. It's like it takes a special kind of person to get in there and do that type of surgery. So shout out to all those doctors out there and nurses that helped my mom get through all that.
Yes.
Apex Legends, haven't played really much of that this past week. I've been taking a week off, so I've been venturing out and playing a couple other games. One of the games I played was Blair Witch.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a new game on Game Pass. I played about maybe an hour of that game, and I was bored. I was so bored. It was. If you haven't seen this Blair Witch game, you are just some guy who goes into the Burkittsville, I think it is, the site of the 1996 or 1999 or whatever it was trio of students who went to do a documentary about Blair Witch. So this game is based in 2019 about a boy who got lost in the woods. And this guy goes into the woods with his dog to try to find this boy. And for about an hour, I'm just walking around in the forest with my dog, just picking up like cigarette packs, small trinkets, pop cans. I'm like, this is boring. I'm sure this game could have gotten better, but at that point, I'm like, you know what? I am so bored with this, and I'm irritated with how slow it is. I just turned it off, and then I put in the movie Blair Witch, the original one.
So like, did you
Yeah.
see anything? There was nothing scary. And
Nothing scary.
Wow.
I had my flashlight out, and it was a very disappointing start. Usually games that are, I really don't know a lot about, or I'm just going in blind. This game didn't have that hook at the beginning for me. So yeah, I just turned it off and I uninstalled it. I'm like, never going back to this game. So after I watched Blair Witch again, which I love that movie. It was one of the original, I think it was the original found footage movie. You guys remember that? You guys remember everyone's thinking like, was this movie real?
Oh yeah.
Was that real?
Yeah. I remember seeing
a lot of people thought it was real
stuff. Yeah,
but the first credits afterwards, it says written and produced by. I'm like, okay, you can already tell it's a movie. So after that, I watched that. I went back on the Game Pass and I was looking around for games to play, and I found this game called Supermarket Shriek. Have you guys ever heard of Supermarket Shriek?
No.
Oh my goodness. Ronnie, I believe none of that.
I haven't.
I feel like was there an actual game show based off of that?
That's Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah, that's Supermarket Sweep.
Yes.
There was a Supermarket.
I remember a game show called
that's a deep
Supermarket
cut.
Sweep, but not.
That was pretty scary at times, but no.
Oh yeah. So scary.
This game is like Overcooked. There, in a sense, where there are levels, and your goal is to get 3 stars on each level. Except you are a boy and a goat that are.
I did not see that coming. A boy and a goat.
Me neither.
So
Combined or two different?
They are thrown into a shopping cart, and when you press the left trigger, the boy screams and you turn left. When you pull the right trigger, the goat screams and you turn right. You hold down both triggers, they both scream, and you go straight. So the goal of the game is there's like different types of levels. One would be to go through the entire supermarket or that like little store as fast as you can. Another would be try to beat a small like little remote control car ambulance through the supermarket. Another one would be to get like certain items from shelves. Yeah, and pretty much you're just like bumping into them to grab them. And this game is bonkers. If you thought Overcooked was fun, this game is hilarious. Just the screams from the goat and the boy as you're going in the shopping cart is hilarious. You just hear ah ah ah. If you get a chance, just look up on YouTube. Mark, do you have Game Pass?
Yes, I do.
You need to download this one.
All right.
Download it and report back.
I'll give it a shot.
Was it
hilarious.
again? Supermarket
Shriek.
Shriek. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the last game that I started is Batman Arkham City.
Woo! That's a good one.
I played that one when it first came out, and then I think it was free on PS Plus last month, and so I'm going to go through that again. And I think I've gotten through, I don't know, I probably played like 2 hours of it so far, and oh man, the Batman Arkham games are just so good. They are just so good.
Yeah, they are.
They're unmatched.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but other than that, that's about it.
Nice.
Ronnie, how about you?
I'm glad I went last here, not like in the middle of your updates, because like when you said you didn't have a lot, like I really don't have a lot.
Hey, Ronnie.
So
Ronnie, technically you're not last.
Oh, I thought you were about to say I was muted again. Let's check my mic. Yeah, technically I'm not last. So my week was pretty normal. I really didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I actually did not have I didn't have volleyball this Sunday, so it was kind of a nice, a little bit more of a relaxing weekend.
You gave your body a rest.
I decided I was going to have some people over, some of my friends on Saturday night. They all came over to our house, and we always do like a little fire pit like on the back deck. You know, nothing like too crazy. I think it was maybe 10, 12 people, something like that. And we always go out and buy a bunch of like s'mores and stuff like that to grill over the fire there. And we played Cards Against Humanity, which is a very adult game. Mm-hmm. If anybody has never played that before.
Yeah.
Not for kids. Not even close.
Nope.
We played that. We played I have a ping pong table in my basement. We always go down there and hash it out. Those games get really loud and fun. I have to say I am still the champion. I'm still a champion. There's always people that say that they're pretty good.
Nice.
And they come over and they're not good enough. I am better. Not to brag.
So you're not just the volleyball beast in the East. You're the ping ponging beast of the East.
Yeah.
You ever see those like ping pong championships like on TV where there's two like it's usually like smaller Asian guys are holding them and they're like it looks like a karate move where they're hitting it every time. Like it's ridiculous. It's nothing like that. It's very much a white, heavy-set American guy version of that.
Sure.
So
But
there you go.
you get the ball going.
Oh yeah, it is funnier. Absolutely. It's funny, like when people come over, I always think to myself, like when people say that they're good, like because we had drinks on Saturday, and if I have a couple of drinks, like that's when you got to get me. If you know that I've had a couple of drinks, that's the time to get me, because it's you just can't see the ball as well. Everything, your reaction time is not as good. But we always go down there. We end up playing like doubles and stuff like that, and everybody's yelling and hooting and hollering, and it's really fun. So we did that on Saturday night. And Sunday was kind of like a lazy day for us. We got up and just kind of chilled for a little bit, and we decided we were going to go over to my mom's house for a pool day. Since the holiday today, we did not have volleyball on Sunday. So me and a couple friends went over to my mom's. It was one of my friend's 30th birthday, and we just had like a kind of a chilled pool day, which was really nice. So that, as far as what I did outside of the ordinary, was about it. I did watch Iron Man 2.
Nice. Moving the needle.
Keeping up with the Marvel movies, trying to get them all in order. Next up, I think, is the first Thor movie, which I actually haven't seen yet. I've seen Iron Man 2, so I watched that again. I will tell you, man, it just makes so much sense if you watch them in order.
Yes,
like the Marvel
it does.
Universe.
Congratulations.
When you watch them all out of order, it's nothing really makes any sense on where anybody came in. But when you watch them in order, it makes a huge difference.
Wow, they planned this, all these things together.
It's like it's
throughout
a
the whole like Iron Man 2 movie. One thing that I really just never picked up is like Agent Coulson. Like the whole movie is trying to get like a meeting with them. He's like trying to get a meeting with them, and then towards the end, like Fury comes into the play or whatever, and he's like, Iron Man for the Avengers, yes. Tony Stark, no.
Yeah.
Like there's just some hilarious parts. Like the character of Tony Stark is awesome, really. When he's sitting there with Nick Fury, and he's like, her report basically says he's a narcissist, and he's like, I agree. But it's a killer movie, and I think the end credit on that one is where they find Thor's hammer, like out in the desert area. Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen any of the Thor movies yet. I think I've seen parts of one of them, but I'm not sure which one it is. I just flipped it on and it was playing. But looking forward to that. And then I actually watched a couple of different shows. There's this show called The Family, and it's kind of a documentary, and it's about a Christian organization that, I guess for lack of a better word, has been kind of running things around the world behind the scenes. And it's very, very interesting. It's basically somebody, a reporter kind of infiltrated, I guess, that, and was in it for a long time, and he came out and did a full report on it. And it's interesting because you see a lot of presidents over the years. A lot of presidents over the years have been seen with the leader of this organization, and it's kind of a whole just a whole big story about this organization who has got a lot of influence in leadership all over the world. So it's really an interesting one. We've been kind of watching that. I've watched a couple episodes of it. I'm still kind of watching here and there, just when I'm bored, The Newsroom, which I really like. That's a really, really cool one. It is, I can't remember now the name. I can never remember this actor's name. He's the guy that in Dumb and Dumber. He was
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels.
Yep.
He's the main guy in this, and he's a news anchor. And it's kind of a drama film, but it's really good. I guess at the time it was more of a current events movie or a current events show. Now it's obviously past, but it's really cool. And then I did watch the first episode of The Boys, Patrick.
Yes.
And I will tell you, that is, even regardless of the description you gave me and everything you told me, I don't think I was quite ready. It's a very adult movie, or a very adult TV show. All the situations and everything in it. It is definitely a completely different way to look at like a superhero,
right?
Or people with superhero powers. It's basically, like you said, it's superheroes if they all were in like this union and they kind of just abused their powers. It's basically that. I think the end of the first episode is where like the main superhero, which was the what do they call him? Homelander. He like shoots down a plane.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa. Like I thought at the beginning they kind of mentioned that he was not kind of like the rest of them. Like he was more of like your Captain America, does everything right. And then at the end it shows him like basically shooting down a plane. So it was it's a different way to look at the whole superhero thing, but it did interest me. Like I will definitely keep watching because there's like some, within all of that part, there's a whole storyline about, somebody gets killed at the beginning of the episode and, the boyfriend and some other mysterious guy, the guy who claimed to be a member of the FBI, he's involved and he's not actually a member of the FBI at all. So it's a very bizarre thing. So I don't know a whole lot about really any of it yet because they leave you after the first episode with just a ton of questions.
Yeah.
So I definitely will keep watching because they did kind of hook me, and it is interesting. But again, it is not kid friendly at all. Like it is one of the most unkid friendly TV shows I've ever watched.
I totally agree with that. It is. They
every
go
situation
above.
is extreme.
Yep. Yeah.
So, and it is. I'm sure it's a little like Mark, you said you probably wouldn't go and watch it. I can definitely understand that. It's the situations and the language. A lot of the show. I mean, there's a lot of vulgar in the show. Just everything that happens in the show. So I can definitely understand that. But there is an interesting aspect of it, especially just the superheroes that are abusing their powers. Like it was kind of cool how they shed them in a whole new light than really superheroes seem like they've ever really been shed. So I'll probably keep watching that one.
Yeah, like Mark,
but it was,
I probably won't watch it either, but I definitely, the more you guys have talked about it, the more I definitely want to read the story on Wikipedia, as I've talked about before. Like just to get the content of it, because it sounds really interesting. Like it sounds almost like a very adult Hancock or, one of those movies where it takes superheroes and they're not just good or evil, they're just selfish. Like they just do whatever they want to make themselves happy.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found interesting too is so at the beginning somebody is killed by accident by a superhero. It's a superhero that runs really fast. He's basically like Flash, except he's got a different name in this movie like everybody does. But he just accidentally is running really fast and runs into somebody. And it just completely obliterates them. Just there's nothing left of them. Like this superhero hits them at super speed, and the story, a large part of the first episode revolves around the boyfriend of this person, and the organization confronts him and wants to pay him off, basically to keep quiet, and they want to pay him like $45,000, which he just lost like the love of his life, and it's a very very interesting scenario on how he's going through this. Like he doesn't want to accept the $45,000. Like he's upset. He wants to go and kind of like try and take down the organization type thing. But they, I guess, they kind of say in that episode that like these things happen all the time, like superheroes accidentally killing somebody, and it's something that when you're watching like superhero movies and stuff like that, and they have all these crazy powers and stuff, you never really think of, but it's like, yeah, it could be a real possibility. Like guys running 1,000 miles an hour, like, but if he accidentally runs into somebody, like they're definitely dead.
Yeah, and all that destruction in New York City in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. It's something they never really go over in superhero movies or TV shows. So it's kind of cool how they shed light on that part of it. But other than that, for me, I really didn't do anything out of the ordinary. It was a really chilled, lazy weekend, which was the best, honestly. Lucas, how about you?
Before I get into mine, I did have two clarifying questions for you, Ronnie. The first question, based on what you've been watching that you shared, it very much looks like, thanks to your girlfriend, you are going to keep your resolution to watch all the Marvel movies in 2019.
I am actually tearing it up.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
You're headed in
and I'm glad.
good direction.
I'm totally glad that I have somebody that wants to watch these
holding
with
you
me.
accountable.
Otherwise, there was probably not a chance it was ever going to happen.
The other thing is the second question. Oh, were you going to say something else in regards to?
No, not really. I'm just going to say that I'm happy to be dating like a nerd. Also,
I'm also happy that you're
She's
dating
great.
a nerd. for sure. The second thing
She has Doctor Who Monopoly, first of all.
Wow.
I just wanted to throw that out there. She has Monopoly that is Doctor Who version.
that might be a little too much nerd. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. It's good.
That's pretty.
It's all good.
That's pretty far.
Dial it back a
spectrum.
little bit. No,
The second thing I wanted to say is,
No, I didn't.
how much would we have to pay her to incentivize you to watch the remaining 45 minutes of Superman, Christopher Reeve's Superman?
You can reach out to her, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's gonna be a stout payoff.
'Cause it's-
I believe
it's been 46
She doesn't really
weeks.
have any interest in it either.
It's been 46 weeks, and I think what a great gift to celebrate the birthday of the GMG podcast, the Good Morning Guys, by watching it.
I mean, honestly, like I will tell you that, like I feel like a hero for watching an hour and a half of it.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I feel like I did everybody a favor. I did myself a disservice, and I did something for everybody else.
So the other question is,
Very abnormal for me.
have you actually closed the door on this issue by giving Patrick his copy of Superman back?
Negative.
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yes. I'm saying that, I mean, technically it could walk itself into the DVD player at my house and start playing if somebody were to put it in. But I feel like it's not going to be me. That's 100%. It's not going to be me. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Elizabeth either.
Gotcha. As Patrick, no, not Patrick, as Matt or Arctic Warlocks would say, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to lead you guys down. I don't want to lead you guys astray any longer. I'm surprised that it happened anyways. Patrick asked me for his birthday, and I felt obligated. But I didn't really have any intention on watching it before that.
well, I did just have a birthday a few days ago.
So,
But you would have me watch Superman? Like, you're a Batman person. You would have me watch a crappy Superman movie? Like, I mean, if you want to watch Batman, that makes more sense.
maybe.
Fair enough.
so close, Mark. So close. You almost had him.
Let's have a logic inventory here.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, moving on. When talking about this, I don't know that logic is quite the factor or deciding factor. So, guys, with me over this past week, I did a lot of catching up, not the condiment, but just
I love ketchup.
catching up on life. I know ketchup's amazing. I've passed that on to my children as well. They practically drink it with every meal. Ketchup.
That's the best.
Yeah, it's the best. It's like that scene out of Tommy Boy when he's eating French fries with one hand and then squirting ketchup in his mouth in the other. That's pretty much where my kids have gotten to.
But doesn't David Spade just say, "Hey, I can hear you getting fatter"?
That's correct. So far, my kids' metabolism has continued its course, and I can attest that if their metabolism keeps up like mine, they have a good 30 years or so before it catches up with them. So, yeah, good stuff. But I've been playing a little catch up during my travels, just over the past many weeks and a couple months. Between all the traveling, visiting family and visiting churches, and then coordinating a mission trip for 3 weeks, and then coming back and helping my folks with some stuff in West Virginia. This last week was finally a time when I had a good solid week to just catch up on some things, messages, emails, things I'd kind of put off to the side. So that was mainly my focus this week. Working from Wes and Tiffany, they're my friends that live here in Indiana, and they open up their home to me. And I've been mainly hanging out at their house or hanging out at their church to use the space that they have to offer for me to just kind of work from home. And I have 3 more weeks in the U.S., and this week was really catch up to get me to the point where over the next 3 weeks or so, I can really focus on raising funds and partnering with more churches and more people, because that's my main focus over these coming weeks is to get prepared, because I have to raise a certain amount of money to to continue serving in Brazil over the next 2 years. And so that's been my focus this past week, and that'll continue to be my focus for the next few weeks. And for the most part, it worked out pretty well, at least until the end of the week came, and I discovered that my friends, they use an app called Rover. I don't know if you guys have heard of this pet app. So if you are in need of like someone to take out your dog while you're at work, or walk your dog for you, play with your dog even, or take care of your pets, or watch them over the weekend, etc. You can sign up for this app called Rover, and it's pretty much like Uber Pets, and you can get people in your area to take care of your pets for you at it can be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, a weekend, a day, whatever, and you pay accordingly, kind of through this app, kind of like you would for Uber to get a ride, or Uber Eats or whatever to get food. And so this
is dangerous.
Yeah, but isn't Uber kind of dangerous? Like you're getting in a stranger's car and.
No, I mean dangerous for the person who's going to be taking care of the dog.
It could be, and I thought of that. I'm like, these strangers' dogs are just, you're taking care of them, and they happen to be like, I don't know, Cujo, and
vicious. Yeah,
they send you to the hospital. They're definitely, and I think this is early on in the app's life and lifetime or whatever. Its inception. It's very early on, and so I would imagine that at least on the app's part, they have a lot of disclaimers and things you kind of have to agree to and know that there's risks. And I haven't used it at all because I don't have a pet, but I would guess that there's some kind of process to it that they use to help deal with that. But it is what it is. So they participate in it. They actually have made some decent money over the past few weeks using it in taking care of people's pets. Most of the time, it's just been, going to people's houses and taking out their pets, playing with them for 30 minutes or whatever. But this weekend, they dog watched 3 dogs, a 2-month-old hound pit bull mix, a 1-year-old like small pit bull, and a 1-year-old like I don't know,
pit bull.
A mix. No, it wasn't a pit bull. The third one was a different one that was taller and like more of a greyhound looking dog. It wasn't a greyhound, but anyways, these dogs were very active, and they already have 2 cats and 2 dogs. So we had 5 dogs and 2 cats in the house, and there were just pets everywhere. And half of these pets like to jump up on you. They like to lick your face. They like to, beg and all this stuff. And so when they came, it was perfect timing for me to go visit another town and another church. And so I actually left within a few hours of when they started to get these pets. And I was kind of glad to do so because it looked like it was going to be really busy in their house. And even later when I came back a day or two later, it was madness. Like I pretty much, when I came in, one of the dogs forgot who I was. It had only been like a day or two, and it was barking at me like I was, it had never seen me before. And I was pretty much shielding myself with a pillow to just keep the dogs away because they just wanted to jump on top of me, and they were very untrained and that kind of stuff. And I'll be honest, I'm not a real big fan of, pets that just kind of are allowed to do whatever they want. Like when I have a dog or whatever, I teach it to not jump on people, to not get in their grill, to be more respectful. And people don't always do that. So you just kind of have to figure out where the happy medium is. And, I just tell them no. And, just find a way to make sure that we both keep our personal space. But so that made things very interesting over the weekend. So
did you sign up to watch other pets to raise money for your missionary?
I most certainly did not.
Oh, I thought that's where it was going.
I guess that could be like a 3-week cure, but that's not really gonna help me in the long run. As I won't be able to watch their pets for the next 2 years. But then like I said, I did take a break from that, and I went to Lynn, Idaho. No. Lynn, Indiana, wrong state. And
yeah,
I was
they're close.
Way off.
Samsonite.
But I went and spoke at a church in Lynn, Indiana, in the morning. And then in that same church, they have a Hispanic church service in the evening time, and I went to that as well. That was really fun. And what's funny is I don't speak Spanish anymore. I remember some words, but it's really hard for me to think of it. So I usually end up speaking Portuguese with the people there, and they kind of understand. Sometimes there's not similar words that we use, so they get a little confused, and I try to remember. Eventually we use Google Translate, but it was really nice to visit that church. It was the first church actually that I've returned to in Indiana. It was my second time going to that church, so it was good to see those people again and catch up with them and stuff. But things got interesting actually the night before when the people of the church invited me to a Mexican restaurant called El Carreton, which I discovered is the cart, or the cart. That's all I got. It actually also it also translated the word as the bogey, which I don't really know what a cart and a bogey have to do with each other, but that's what Google Translate said.
That's interesting because La Carreta,
I know, right?
also translates to the cart.
Yeah, so there's apparently a boy cart, El Carreton, and a girl cart, La Carreta. So I thought of you, Mark, when I went to this Mexican restaurant. It was very exciting. And I almost told our waitress or waiter that it was one of the guys' birthdays, but I decided not to lie, so I changed my mind. But so I got there, and they said, this place is amazing. You need to get we recommend this, this, and this. And of course, because we had just talked about our pizza episode, and I had talked about how I love Hawaiian pizza, when I was looking through the menu, I saw a Hawaiian option, and it was under the fajitas. Hawaiian fajitas. And it had chicken, bacon, onions, pineapple, and then my friend got fresh grilled jalapenos, and I combined that all together in tortilla, of course, with beans and rice and lettuce and tomato and cheese, all that good stuff. And I destroyed those fajitas. They were amazing. Like, the flavor was so good. The sweet and salty, it was so good. And when we were translating, trying to figure out what El Carreton means, it said bogey. And that was the first thing it said. I don't know why. Then we figured out it was cart, because there was a cart in front of the restaurant. Duh. And but when they saw bogey, they said, "Oh, that's funny. We have an ice cream place called Bogey's." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, is it good?" They're like, "Is it good? It's the best ice cream in the town." Well, I'm like,
Ever.
Oh.
Yeah. And they were like, "We need to go there."
The only one in the town, but yes.
Well, yeah, I didn't verify that, but I said, "Well, let's go find out." And so we went to Bogey's, and it was kind of like a mom and pop Dairy Queen,
nice.
Where their main ice cream is soft serve, but they make their version of Blizzards, which I think they called, what's the McDonald's Blizzards?
McFlurries?
Yes, it wasn't that. Oh, they were called Avalanche. They were called Avalanches, I think is what they called them. So you could pick your Avalanche, and there was large, medium, and small, which is normal. Then there was half small, and I'm like, half small?
What? Kitty?
Half small?
Kitty cone?
Yeah, like exactly. It's like, you mean kid small? No, it's half small. And I'm like, well, how big is this small? So they showed me a small, and
It's
it was
twice as big as the half small.
Yeah, well, thank you for that.
That's like
Captain
Starbucks,
Obvious.
where like a small is a tall. And
Yeah, exactly. It was quite confusing. But then I just was that guy that's like, can you show me what a small looks like? They showed me a small. Now, at this point, I ate all of my fajitas, and I was definitely full. But when you get ice cream involved, it's really liquid. Like, it melts in your mouth, you swallow it, and when it goes into your tummy, it fills in the cracks. So it really doesn't matter how full you are, right?
sure.
Yes.
Maybe.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Yeah. So they showed me this small, and I was like, well, that looks too small. And this is the only time I'm going to get to go to this place. So I'm getting a medium.
Ooh.
So I get a medium. And it's not huge. It's good. I mean, it's a good portion, and it was really cheap for the size. And I got what they called it, the half-baked avalanche. And it was pretty much like brownie and cookie dough blizzard mixed together, and it was really good. Like the ingredients were nice and like soft and chewy. Like I don't know if you've had really cheap cookie dough before, where you chew on the cookie dough and it's like clearly it was made a month ago and it's super hard and like gets caught in your teeth and your gums and stuff. And this was like
Gross.
Yeah, this was like melt in your mouth. It really was honestly some of the best like just soft serve ice cream I've had with with the goodies inside. So anyways, I'm eating this thing and I get halfway and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to explode. But the other people with me all ate theirs.
Did you explode?
No, I did not. Spoilers, I did not explode. But everybody around me had eaten theirs and I'm like, what is going on? What's happening? I'm usually like, I have a good sized stomach. I can eat a lot. And like we were just hanging out and talking. We went back to some people's houses and we were talking and I was struggling. Like, and I just kept making myself out of like pure stubbornness. I was like, I am going to finish this ice cream. And it took me probably an hour or so. It took me about an hour or so. And then I finally did it. And from that evening, from like 9 o'clock to midnight when I finally went to bed, and the next day, the entire day, I struggled. Like, it was not like Montezuma's Revenge or anything, but it was like, I never felt hungry. I was just like, I am full of everything and it's never going to go away and I'm going to be full forever. And I felt like I was going to explode. But as I said, spoilers, I did not. But I did not recover until today, like 2 days later. And I realized that I can never do that again. And my days of eating a bunch of food are past.
Famous last words.
It's over. No, it's not. Yeah, I know.
I always say that I'm
this.
Never doing that again.
No, but this
and then
is
you
real.
forget about a year from now.
No,
and you're going to do the same thing.
I'm not going to forget. I felt so awful. There's sometimes like, gluttony is a sin. But I've never struggled with that because like there are times when I feel not hungry, but it still is like, it's not painful. Saturday night, it was painful, but I was so like, I can do this. It's kind of like when, I don't know if you guys have had this experience when there's something you haven't done in a while. Like I get to see Ronnie when he's 60 years old and or 70 years old and he hasn't played volleyball for like 5 years. And he's like, he sees the volleyball area and he's like, I'm going to spike the ball. And he just jumps up and just slams and misses the ball and hits himself in the leg. And he's like bleeding everywhere. And he's like, man, that's not as easy as it used to be. Like it makes you feel terrible. Like you've lost a part of yourself.
That's pretty much what it's like now.
All right.
And of course, as anybody who would, be, slamming their fist in their leg and be bleeding out, that's the first thing. Man, this doesn't feel like it used to.
No, it doesn't. And that's just kind of how I felt. And I was very disappointed in myself. And so that's all that really happened over the weekend, too. Besides that, on the gaming update, I did play a little bit of video games and some board games. I started Donkey Kong Returns on the Wii, a very old game. But for some of you that have purchased Wii games, Wii U games, Switch games, the value of Nintendo games never go down. And so the time to really buy the games, if you want to get a cheaper version, is almost never. So I never really bought Donkey Kong Returns. And I love the Donkey Kong games, like on Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong 1, Donkey Kong 2, whatever it's called. I don't remember. Donkey Kong Country 2, I think is what they're called. I played those and loved them. And so my friend Wes and Tiffany, they have a Wii, and they have Donkey Kong Country Returns. So I started playing it. And I've played through a few worlds. It's really fun. It's classic. They definitely added some, if you've played Wii, the waggle motions and the moving the controller around to do stuff is very annoying sometimes, but it's there and it's fine. It's pretty fun, and it's definitely tough and punishing at times. They usually only give you one checkpoint through the whole level, and if you don't take care of it and and get to the checkpoint or get to the end, you start all the way back at the beginning. So that's kind of annoying. But the game's really fun, and it's been a good time. The other one besides that, I have been doing some classic gaming with He has a Genesis with an emulator, and then also I brought my Nintendo Classic. So we've been playing OG Mario, Mario 3, but the best was today we played some Punch-Out.
Nice.
There you go.
And one of my favorite things to do, especially with people that didn't grow up playing it or haven't played it in a really long time, is to see if they can figure out the patterns of the fighters. Like, Punch-Out is a really fun game, unless you don't know how to either pay attention or you're not good at recognizing patterns, then it can get quickly frustrating. And so Wes didn't want to play it at first because he wanted to play 2-player games. And I was like, you know what? I really enjoy just watching. And I've talked about it before on the show, like when my kids played Punch-Out. And I of course told Wes, I said, just so you know, especially after he lost to the first guy, I was like, my daughter lost to the first guy, but she beat him the second time. And then she beat the second guy on her first try, so no pressure. And so he started playing, and he lost the first time, then he beat him, and then he lost on the second one. And I was like, you're going to have to get some tips from my daughter because she schooled you on that. And it's just funny how when we were little, like when we played video games, how we were so much faster and so much better at figuring stuff out. It's really just weird when you get older. Again, when you get older and you just kind of hit those, moments in life when things change or, when things become different or, you hit milestones. It's just weird how things just go that direction. You know what I mean?
It is weird.
It's kind of like this transition that we all go through,
You know what else is weird? Lucas.
Sometimes I am. You're very correct. Well, with that and my weirdness and the milestones that we're going to talk about, let's get into the topic of the show, shall we? That's right, folks. We are talking about milestones because that is what we are crossing today in our podcasting history right now. We posted our first official episode, episode 1, Introductions, in September of 2018, last year, and now 52 weeks later, 52 episodes later, also, here we are. And to start things out, I thought it would be very appropriate if Patrick, our scholar of the Good Morning Guys, our episode extraordinaire, would share maybe some of his statistics that he found or dug up for us to tell us what this year has been like.
Yeah, sure. I can do that. So we can go through because we're on Twitter, we're on Discord, Facebook, and now Instagram. So on Twitter is where we first started our venture into social media, and then we added the other things afterwards. So Twitter is our biggest. We have the most followers on Twitter at 678.
Yeah.
Followed by Instagram, which we had just put up there, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. We have 129 followers there. Facebook, we are at 96, and then Discord, we have 42.
Nice.
So let's go into our top episodes, our top 5 episodes for this year. Episode 6 is Controversy. That's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 is episode 1, Introductions. Number 3 is episode 37, Dreams. Episode 13 is number 4, and that's Music Volume 1. And then rounding out the top 5 is episode 3, Video Games. We in our top countries, no surprise, the United States is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
The top city coming from Cincinnati, also no surprise. Number 2 is Brazil, and the top city coming from there, no surprise, is Sao Paulo.
Can't believe it. Crazy.
And then we got number 3 is France, number 4 is the UK, and number 5 is Canada.
Oh, Canada.
And we have an honorable mention because we like to do honorable mentions here.
Of course.
So honorable mention is Mexico, which comes in at number 6.
Sweet.
Dang.
Our total listens so far is 6,965. We'll probably get over 7,000 by the weekend.
Nice.
And then our top month, most listens was May of this year at 777.
The number of completion.
Yeah, that's true. All those sevens out there.
Mm-hmm.
Very
But
cool.
those are the stats that I have for these past 52 weeks.
So what do you guys feel about those stats? What do you feel about our first year? I just kind of we're going to have an overall like milestone discussions about our personal lives. But just to start it out, how do you guys feel about the first year of the Good Morning Guys podcast?
So the fact that we have a number in any of those categories greater than 1 is astounding to me. I had no idea that we would get as far as we did, as far as we have, I should say. And knowing that there are people out there that enjoy what we're doing, that come back each and every week and listen to what we're talking about. And, we have ebbs and flows. Some episodes may not be as popular as others, but people still listen. People still enjoy it. People are still encouraged by it. And that's something I never saw myself being a part of. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. And I'm glad people are enjoying what we do. So I'm excited about those numbers.
Yeah, when I was putting the stats together for the top 5 episodes, I was not surprised that our introductions episode was number 2, but I'm very surprised that the number 3 episode is episode 37, which we've only been 15 weeks since then, so it's only been 15 weeks that it's been out, and it is the third most listened to episode, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if it was the dream topic and people are searching for stuff like that, and that's why that one was the most. But all the other ones have had 40 weeks, 52 weeks to get those listens. To have number 37 up there is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But like Mark said, we had like the ebbs and flows. Some episodes are not as popular as others, but having a community that listens to us, that reaches out to us, that comments on us, that tags us in certain posts. One of the coolest things that I like to hear is when people listen to us. They do those Follow Friday tweets on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
They say, hey, if you haven't listened to these guys, you need to listen to them. And it's kind of cool that we are one of those for people out there.
Yeah, and I've always found it really. Excuse me. I think Patrick got me sick earlier this week. What I think is actually, I guess, been the most surprising, in all honesty, is just people that find what we talk about interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just that in general, that people would just find whatever we're talking about for the week interesting, whether that be a bunch of nonsense or an actual serious topic. Just, I guess, to see people in Discord having discussions back and forth about that, us having questions every week about our topic, from our regular listeners. People like, they can't wait to maybe like listen to our latest episode. Like that is all very, very surprising. I guess it's a very surprising, humbling thing for me that people would be that interested to listen to what we have to say.
Yeah, definitely. And I think part of the reason that some people do listen, and I think that we're able to connect with people, is because we're not just talking about ourselves to talk about ourselves. We're talking about ourselves to initiate a conversation, to connect with someone else, as we've talked about before, and to really find points in our lives where we look at things similarly or even look at things differently, but how, whether they're similar or different, how we're all connected, and how there's a great opportunity that, you know, when you listen to a podcast, it's one thing to just listen to a podcast, get some information and move on. It's another thing to listen to a podcast and that initiates a conversation, or you make a connection, like, hey, I feel that way too, or I think that way too. And I think through our Discord, through Twitter, we get that opportunity to make that connection. Like one of my favorite episodes was when we did the faith episode, and a lot of people like reached out to us afterwards, and people shared their faith, shared their lack of faith, shared, you know, all the different things that they thought. And that's not just been in that episode. It's been other episodes where people have, you know, shared, you know, real struggles. And when we've laughed together, they've laughed with us. And when we've talked about painful things, they've opened up about painful things in their lives. And so it's kind of that we're kind of like taking the step so that they can take the step too. And that's really cool to do that with you guys, for sure.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get a little more personal and just talk about maybe some of the major milestones in our lives. I don't know if, well, for some of you, I know, if you came prepared with any milestones. If you didn't, if you guys want, I can go over some and maybe give some examples to get those brain juices flowing. What do you guys think? You want to just wing it, kind of share some of your best and worst milestones, or you know,
what's a bad milestone?
Oh,
I wing it every day, Lucas.
I know you do. Well, I can give you some great crappy milestones. The first could be your first car accident. You guys remember when you had your first car accident? Maybe you haven't had a car accident yet. I know Mark has, and I know I definitely have had a car wreck or two. So that's definitely a milestone when you first, like, you know, just destroy something, or you're just in a wreck. I mean, that can be quite a milestone.
I think I would like to hear what milestones are important to everybody. And I would actually like to start, because
do it.
My milestones, my whole life, I guess a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, my whole life changed. So all those milestones that I currently had, you know, wedding anniversary, dating anniversary, all of those things all of a sudden aren't milestones for me anymore. So it's a little bit different than, you know, what you guys are going to tell us. You know, you're going to have a wedding, you know, anniversary milestone, you know, when you started dating, how long you've been together, all of those things kind of changed for me. I don't think there's probably a lot of people out there like that. It doesn't always work out. The funny thing is, when I was thinking about milestones, I was thinking about, man, what milestones do I even have now? And the answer is not that many. I was talking to Elizabeth about it, and I think coming up on the 7th of next month is our 4 months from when we went out on our first date.
Right.
So that currently it's kind of the one milestone, you know?
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have a whole lot, you know, of milestones like, you know, anniversaries, things like that. That's pretty much it, honestly.
Yeah, and with Elizabeth, you definitely, you know, had a reboot, reset, but that's why I think we want to expand it outside of, you know, relationship or you know, milestones of like things we experience no matter what our status is in life and those kind of things. So whether it's a car accident, getting dumped, getting fired, those are milestones that people hit, and those are the crappy ones. But the good ones can be moving out on your own for the first time, passing your driver's test, getting engaged for the first time, you know, getting your first full-time job, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, for sure. I actually realized this past month is August marked the 7 years since I purchased my home.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah,
it's just kind of something that randomly came up, and yeah.
Purchasing your first home is definitely a milestone. I remember when Mindy and I did that. I remember we both had, you know, really solid jobs. I was actually a manager at a cell phone kiosk in Sam's Club, as I've mentioned about that job before, and I even posted a picture of the kiosk in the Discord this past week. But I had really good pay and really good solid job there, and then we applied for our loan and we got into the process of buying the home. And not long after we initiated all that, I quit the job, and I moved on to a job that paid a lot less, and it definitely made things difficult, but we were still able to buy our first home there in West Virginia, where that was like, what year is it, 2019? It was probably like 11 years ago when we did that, so, yeah.
How long have you been in Brazil?
I've been in Brazil now for 7.5 years, 7 years and 3 months. It was June of 2012. So, yeah, a little over 7 years.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I think like certain milestones that have kind of been like turning points in my life, like for example, like graduating from high school, going off to college, where that was where a lot of my life shifted. I mean, generally for any college student, your life shifts quite a bit, but my life in terms of where I was physically, where I was academically, where I was in my relationship with God shifted at that point. And so I would consider that a milestone. And then of course graduating from college, the culmination of like 4 years of going through a lot of highs and lows, and just seeing what God had done in my life and coming out the other side, was just a huge reflection moment for me. And then, of course, getting married. Of course, we're recording on my 2-year anniversary.
Hey-o.
So that's a huge milestone. I've had some negative milestones as well. Ronnie, we've talked about divorce. We've both gone through it, and it's a huge impact on my life, which thankfully, God has done a lot of healing in my life and been able to turn things around in a lot of ways. But, things like that, death in my family, those have been huge milestones. The death of my both grandparents in 1 year, or two of my grandparents, and then the death of my brother, were some big milestones in my life that were kind of negative. But I mean, death unfortunately is just a part of life. But things like that. My first car accident was actually when I was 16. I did not have...
That was like right at the beginning.
Yep. I had not had my license for that long. But thankfully it was not a serious car accident. Basically, I didn't stop in time. And there was a guy ahead of me, and I sort of tapped the rear end of his vehicle. Thankfully, there was no damage done. And he got out, and he was pretty upset. But eventually he calmed down. He's like, well, there's no damage here. Just be careful. And he just got in his car and left. So that was the first sort of car accident I had ever been involved in. Obviously, I have had worse car accidents since then. One totaling $5,000 in damage. But I remember my first car, is another milestone, was a 93 Chevy Corsica. And
nice. Nice ride.
Yeah. But I was happy because it got me from point A to point B, and I didn't have to ride the bus anymore. Until one of the gaskets in the one of the weather strips or whatever in one of the windows was like messed up to where it was like constantly leaking and stuff like that, and I couldn't afford to fix it, and my mom wouldn't pay for it. So and that and other things, the car kind of sat after a while, and then my brother ended up purchasing it, and I ended up riding the bus again. So that was short-lived. But for that one sweet moment in time, I could drive to school, and just do that, have that freedom on my own.
I definitely think that first car is definitely a huge milestone. You mentioned the first car accident, and my first car accident was thankfully not with my first car. My first car was in existence. Mine was a 93, I think, or 92 Pontiac Grand Am. blue V6. It was a very nice ride. And but thankfully, with my first car accident, I was not riding it. I was instead driving my parents' minivan. And on Christmas Eve, instead of getting to hang out with my girlfriend at the time, they said, "We want you to go wash the van." And I was like, "I don't really want to go wash the van." And they said, "You will go wash the van, or you will not hang out with your girlfriend." And I'm like, "Fine." And I was fine. I was 8. I think I was 18. No, I was 17 because it was senior year and I hadn't turned 18 yet. I was 17 years old, and I took the van to the car wash, and I was really ticked. I was just thinking about how it was, Christmas Eve, and I didn't want to go wash in a car and all this stuff. It was too cold, blah, blah, blah. And I looked over at the car wash, and it was across the street on the left side. So I had to cross incoming traffic. And for whatever reason, I was too preoccupied with having to wash the car to not pay attention to what was coming at me. And I crossed into oncoming traffic, and a mini half-ton pickup truck hit the back end of the minivan and swung me more than 180 degrees around.
Ooh,
and
wow.
It was a huge hit. This is on a 55 mile per hour two-way road. And apparently, word on the street is that this guy was going like 70 miles per hour in his little half-ton pickup truck. And it somehow did not total the minivan, but it definitely totaled the guy's truck. Like it totally melted the front end of his truck and like
melted.
Okay, it didn't melt. It disintegrated. Maybe disintegrated is it pretty much disintegrated the front end. It obliterated, sure. Melted, disintegrated, obliterated. And he came out like screaming and yelling, and he was an older guy, and he was of course very upset, and I was just like in shock. I was just like, "Oh, what did I do?" And the cops came very quickly, and my mom and dad, my mom came, my stepmom, she showed up pretty quickly. And I got a ticket, of course, for crossing without, crossing the oncoming traffic and not, doing my part to keep things safe. And, I got grounded forever, almost. And,
at least it wasn't your 93 Grand Am.
But it was not my 93 Grand Am. Nobody was harmed somehow. Like, it was a half second earlier, and he could have hit the front of me. And that could have been a different story for both of us, but the way he hit me and the way things all went out, nobody got hurt, except for his half-ton pickup truck that, again, got melted and got totally totaled.
And Lucas is still grounded to this day.
Yeah, I'm still grounded to this day. It's been rough, like living in
I've got a
Brazil
serious question.
All that jazz.
Was the 93 Grand Am, was that like a brand new car when you were graduating high school?
It was no.
That's the same year, right? You graduated high school?
That's a good one. Funny.
You're old!
Yeah. It was a 7-year-old vehicle. Thank you very much, because I graduated in 2000. Actually, when I got it, it was 97 or 98, so it was like 5 years old. Thanks for that joke at my expense.
My first car was a 91 Grand Prix.
Ooh.
And I graduated in 2006, so it was
a little older.
It was up there by the time
How old were you guys when you got your first cars?
I was 16.
I was 16 as well.
17.
Yeah, and I was 17. I think I had my license for a year. You all got your license at 16, right?
Right.
Yes.
In Brazil, you have to be 18 to get your license, and there's no getting it earlier.
That's probably smarter, honestly.
It probably is. But yeah, so that first car, first accident definitely leaves a mark.
But
yeah, my first car was a 1983 Pontiac Bonneville. This thing was a boat, and it was a monster. I mean, it was solid steel. I don't know if it was solid steel. I don't know, but it was it was a big, huge hoopty, of a car. I mean, it was.
Is that one of those ones that has like the couch seat in the front?
Oh, it would. I don't think it did, but it had plush seats.
Ooh.
It was really nice. It got like 12 miles to the gallon though. But it was it was chrome rims. It was tinted windows. You know, something that a skinny white kid you wouldn't imagine driving.
Feels good to be a gangster.
But yeah, I've mentioned it before. I got stopped so many times just because of the car. But yeah, no, I didn't wreck that. I didn't wreck that car. I had that car for probably 4 years, and then I had to sell it for a car that would not break down, because this car broke down a lot.
That's important.
Yeah, it was like I was spending a couple $100s every month on fixing this car. I'm like, you got to call a spade when it's a spade. You know, like, okay, I need to get rid of this car and get a new car. So yeah, I got the new car when I was in I guess a senior in college back in like 2006 maybe or 2005. But yeah, no, I didn't wreck either of those cars.
Nice, well done. Congratulations.
You guys are old.
You are old. Yes, we are. Now, when you guys took your driver's test, this was another thing, a part of the milestone of just cars and driving and everything. Did you guys pass everything without any issues? Was it all flying colors? Did it go perfectly?
No problems.
Nope, I failed the first time.
Me too. I definitely failed the first time.
I actually it's funny, I took the driving test, and my mom, she had a Jeep Grand Cherokee at the time, so like an SUV. So I took the maneuverability part in that, and I knocked over one of the cones with the mirror. You know, I had like the cones with the sticks coming out of them. Like,
yeah.
I just knocked it over with the mirror of the Jeep. And I had to wait a whole other week to take the test. It was terrible.
Nice. I actually failed the written part the first time because I said, I'm not going to study. I'm just going to wing it. And my dad said, you're going to fail. And he was right. I took it. I missed like half the questions. And they're like, yeah, you're going to have to come back later.
Just answered C through all.
One.
I mean, come on. Some of those questions, they're ridiculous. They're like, how many feet should you be away from this? Who can measure how many feet they're away from something while they're driving? Do you like stop and get out a yardstick or a ruler and be like, okay, 1, 2, 3? No.
You gotta have like the Iron
That's
Man
exactly
helmet.
the way you're supposed to do it.
Yep.
That's what
you
they
get
teach
out
you
of
in
the
driver's
car.
ed.
Is that what they
You
teach
did
in
not
driver's
listen
ed?
to.
Fair enough.
Thankfully, a lot of
intersection,
All
everybody's out with like rulers. And
What is taking so long? Why is there
every
so much
single
traffic?
you
was the guy
stop
up
and
ahead with the
immediately get
yardstick.
out. Wait.
I must measure the feet.
Thankfully, there's a lot of cars now that do it for you.
That's
You know,
true.
that park sense technology that kind of gives you a warning indicator when you're getting a little too close.
It feels like such cheating. Like, so I rode with somebody in their car the other day, and they had a side mirror camera, and in the center it would show how close they were to the curb. And I'm like, that is not fair. That just makes parallel parking's a no-brainer. Like, what happens when the EMP comes and knocks out all that stuff, and people have to parallel park during the war, and they can't because they don't have the little cameras.
It's not like one of our parents.
That's right.
As we were driving.
Back in my day,
Back in
hits
my
us
day.
at any point.
We didn't
Parallel
have any
parking is the
automatics.
least of
we
your
had the
problems.
wind-up windows.
Yeah.
Pump the gas pedal 100 times before you started it.
You had to pump it.
Wind the crank in the front. In front of the grill.
Pick up my feet, give it a good start to get it going.
You guys and your CDs.
Yeah. Your MP2s.
MP2s.
What's an MP2?
I
Sequel
meant,
to MP1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I meant MP3. Okay. Not everybody can have nice things.
Can you guys imagine like how like thinking back at the time when like I started driving, like CDs were for the most part still a thing. Like I had this sun visor like CD holder with like a ton of CDs packed into there.
yeah.
Like, how much of a pain in the neck that was, like to have to put in like a whole new CD.
Yeah.
Like, and now you can just like I put my phone in like the little holder, and it's like, man, I can just listen to anything that I want.
Yeah, when you put
crazy.
those CDs in that holder, only like a very small centimeter of that CD is showing, so you have no idea what it is.
you have like 6 CDs in every slot.
You shove as many in as you can. You pull one out and like 20 come flying all over the dashboard and the floor.
That's where that
all
one
over your
is.
lap while you're trying to drive.
I forgot I had that CD. Bringing up those CD visors, that reminds me of another milestone. One is living on your own. Like I remember the first apartment that I got after college when I was on my own in between the time when I graduated and before Mindy and I got engaged the second time and got married and all that stuff. I lived in a very questionable neighborhood, and I knew it was questionable after that first Thanksgiving when I returned and there was police tape all over the house in front of my apartment complex. And I found out from my neighbor who was schizophrenic that somebody had lost a bet and they wanted their $10. And they went to that house and they shot that man in the face because he would not give them his $10.
You could not have described a rougher neighborhood.
Where was this? Harlem?
This is in Mansfield,
$10,
Ohio.
Jeez
It really wasn't a
Louise,
lot of
dude.
money. That's what my neighbor told me. He said it wasn't a lot of money, but the guy just shot him because he wanted his money and he wouldn't give it to him.
And then I heard the story of the one guy who basically retaped this parrot head back on the parrot and sold it to a blind kid.
That's in a movie, and that could have been my apartment complex in the first place I lived.
Pretty birdie.
But I lived in this apartment area, and I remember my dad was like, when he helped me move in my stuff, he was like, "So this is where you're going to live?" I'm like, "Yep." "You're sure?" "Yep." And then that stuff happens later on in the year, and he's like, "You're sure you want to live there?"
So this is where you're going to live.
Yeah. But I remember the first time that someone, I don't know, the first time that I got, like, someone broke into my car and stole stuff. I don't know if you guys have had this happen. Someone break into your car or break into your home or whatever.
Patrick just had this happen, last year at work. Didn't somebody break into your car and steal a bunch of stuff while you were at work?
Oh yeah, I come back out to my car and I sit down, and the first thing I do is I turn the car on and then I turn on my Bluetooth receiver, and I was in the bottom level of the garage. It was kind of dark, so I went to go press the Bluetooth receiver, and it wasn't. I tried to press it. I was like, it wasn't there. I'm like, what? Where is this? So I turn on the light to my car, and Bluetooth receiver was gone. There's like stuff everywhere. All my change is gone. I'm like, okay, someone had broken into my car, and which was like, it felt like a total invasion of my privacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When that happens, I mean, that wasn't
Was
the
your
first
car
time.
unlocked? How did they get in?
Yeah, I don't lock my car.
Yeah.
That's my own fault. But that was not the first time that my car had gotten broken into. I mean, do you remember back in the day when you had like CD faceplates in your car, and people would see you would take the CD faceplate out of your car when you leave your car? Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I do
yes.
remember that.
The CD player faceplate. Like,
The
you take
faceplate,
that out
yeah.
so that it didn't have any value or they couldn't use it or whatever. Yes.
Yes, you would take
Yep.
that,
You
put it in
take it
your
off.
pocket or whatever.
I totally
yeah.
had that. That was my
And
first
then
CD player.
people would
and
just
second.
like break into people's cars and take the whole CD deck out.
So that's what happened to me in
Yeah?
that apartment complex. So it was just one night. I was asleep, and I remember hearing glass break, and I woke up for a second, and I looked around, and I was like, well, I don't see any glass broken, so maybe it's just a dream. And I went back to sleep. The next day, I came out to go to work, and someone had broken the passenger side window, had gotten into my car, and they had tried to steal the CD player, but they could not figure out the 4 screws on the plate. Like, I had taken the face off.
Failed robbery.
Yeah, it was a totally failed robbery, but they ripped off my like dashboard. Like, they ripped it out. And unfortunately, I had not only did they try to steal and fail to steal my CD player, but they were successful in stealing my wallet because that night I left it in my car
Oh no.
accidentally. And then those suckers, they stole my 2 CD visors and stole all my CDs. Like I had shoved all my CDs into the 2 visors like we talked about, and they took all of them. Well, after I filed a police report and all that jazz for the breaking and entering, and I was working on getting my car window fixed, a guy called me down the street, and he said, "Are you Lucas Swisher?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "I have your wallet and some of your stuff." I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah." And so I guess the guys that had stolen whatever was in my car, they threw it all in this guy's front yard. All my CDs were there. My wallet was there with all my, my driver's license and everything in it, except the cash, of course. And so other than the damage they caused and whatever cash I had in my wallet at the time, I got everything back. So it was, it was a major inconvenience and kind of scary because, like, they were, like, my car was right behind my apartment. And, like, I don't know. You just never know if they can't find what they want in your car. They'll just go into your apartment and bust in there and see what they can find or whatever. So
yeah,
it made me definitely nervous for a while.
Yeah, we've had pretty recently in our neighborhood, we've had people that have just been going into people's cars, like not like forcibly breaking in. They don't like bust people's windows and stuff like that. But obviously, people who leave their cars unlocked, you can tell that somebody's been in the vehicle because they'll leave the glove box open and things like that. I think one of my neighbors, she had some stuff taken out of her car. I don't know if it was a wallet or whatever. Thankfully, we don't keep that stuff in our cars, but it was very noticeable. I think the person was looking for cash or something like that. Yeah, there've been a couple occasions where people have, just tried to get into people's cars while they're sleeping. So it's kind of scary, but
yeah, for sure. Well, to go a more positive route, Travis Popsicle had this to say about his biggest milestone. He said, "When I was age 25, it was the birth of my first son. He's now 21 years old in the United States Air Force. Up until that point of my life, it was all fun and games, and I didn't take anything seriously. Having a child who can't survive without me really made me look at things differently. It was an eye-opener, to say the least. It was an accident, quote-unquote, but certainly one of the best accidents ever." Now, only half of our podcast can relate to this, so Patrick, any thoughts on this milestone of having kids?
Yeah, when I had my first kid, when Claire was born, like there's a point when you're thinking, I'm not ready. You're not ready to have a kid. You have a kid and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And you do it. And it is one of the most difficult things to do, but also one of the most rewarding things that is in my life right now. Yeah. And we had talked about, milestones, people, your first car, your, first time moving out, your first home, your first apartment, graduating high school or college. But once Claire was born, the milestones that I now have are because of my kids. Yep. And it's a total switch, there's times where I'm like, how old am I? When was I born? Okay, this year to carry the 2. Okay, all right, I'm this, but I know how old my kids are, because that's way more important than what I have going on right now, and keeping them safe. And but it is the best thing for me. It's just watching them grow. So yeah, I'm totally with Travis on this one. They weren't. Both my kids weren't accidents, but it is it is the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man, 100%, and I'm 100% with Travis in this. And as Ronnie mentioned, I was a weirdo earlier for talking about video games and my kids and all that jazz as a milestone. Like playing those games with my kids, and remembering the first time I played Nintendo with my dad, like is silly as video games are, like just having those moments connect for me was a milestone.
Sure.
like watching them play that first level of Mario and us working together. And of course, like I compare it to when my dad and I played, and he was just as clueless as I was, and it only took like a week for me to actually be better than him. And now this time around, my kids don't always like to play with me because I like take forever to die or finish, and they have to just keep watching me play. And so usually I just let them play and watch them play. But just enjoying that with him. And like you said, Patrick, like your milestones change when they come along. And I remember when Natasha, before she was born, it was probably 3 months. And I've done this with both kids for whatever reason. I get into this panic mode, and I do two things. One, I exercised a bunch. Like with Natasha, I started probably 3 or 4 months before I started running like almost every day. And Mindy's like, so I'm getting fatter with this child, and you are getting skinnier. Is there a reason you're trying to make me feel terrible? And I'm like, no, it's not you, it's me. And I don't know what it was that made me do that. And I did the same thing with James. I started riding a bicycle like every day. And when Mindy had James, she's like, you're seriously doing this again? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this and being healthy. But then the other side happened especially with Natasha. I remembered I went through like a month before I was playing video games as much as humanly possible because I thought I'm never going to get to play video games again or for a long time. Like I thought all my fun times was over. Like I was like, I have to be a dad and I have to be serious. And then of course I discovered that, I can corrupt my children with games, and you find time and you get to play games with them eventually. And you're not just all serious parent all the time. But it's an awesome milestone. And it really helps get you like outside of yourself. Like all the milestones, like you said, Patrick, leading up to there it's me, the things happening to me. But I think kids are so necessary to help bring us out into thinking of the other, like thinking of other people and considering the milestones and just, I don't know. I think while it's not something that everyone should do, I think that, everyone that does it, you learn something about yourself. And you just, it's an unexplainable, like it's the greatest blessing and most difficult milestones in life and a part of having kids. So,
yep. Yeah. Like speaking of milestones that my kids, with my kids, I took my daughter on our first bike ride, outside the house. We're riding our bikes on the side of the road, heading to a parking lot so we could, because this new parking lot just got repaved and it was so smooth. Previously we would just bike in our backyard across driveways, but we had never had ridden our bikes outside of the home or taken our bikes anywhere. So it was our first time riding our bikes on the street together, which was really cool to do, because I remember just riding my bike up and down the street, and I never rode my bike. I rode my bike with my dad every once in a while, but doing that with Claire was just really cool because it was the first time we actually left the house with our bikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's cool, man. Pat Schibi, one of our new friends, or I think maybe he's been listening. I don't know. Who is Pat Schibi?
That's my
Patrick?
Mother-in-law.
Okay. Hi, Pat. Nice to meet you, mother-in-law. She said, marriage, kids, buying a home, graduation, retirement, being mortgage-free, becoming the oldest living generation in your family. Those are some pretty incredible milestones, and definitely milestones that none of us have reached half of those. I don't
Retirement. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that will be a good one someday.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
With Pat's comment there, do you guys have any milestones that? Oh wait, sorry, I forgot. I have to mention too. Tim Paullin commented on Pat's comment about milestones and said, "Well, I can't top that. Give it time, Tim. You will someday. You just need to get a little older, buddy." But besides that, what's a milestone that you guys are looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the I don't know if it's like a nervousness of when Claire first starts to drive.
Oh yeah.
You know, that like first a sense of independence.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not going to be for another 7 years. 6.5, I guess. If
you're on the other, you're on the other half of it though. Like you're on the other side.
I am. Yeah.
There's less time now going towards driving a car and compared to before, and that's crazy.
How about when Claire? How about when Claire starts
those
to
are
date?
some very big milestones I am not looking forward to, and it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
I haven't even reached halfway for my daughter. She's not allowed to date till she's 30. So,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, I know that's not true. That's a joke.
But yeah, those are some big milestones that I'm looking forward to. Teaching her how to drive. Teaching her how to be how to respect herself and make others respect her. Like when she starts dating, I mean, she's gonna get a lot of advice from mom,
right?
But when those boys come over and they're come over to pick Claire up for a date or going out to dinner or taking her to a movie,
and you're sharpening your knife.
I am looking forward to having that conversation with that kid.
Oh, I bet.
Because I was there. I know.
Yeah, you know how that conversation goes. Yeah.
Bolster up your gun collection.
I'll totally be the guy that comes over to help you, and just act like I just got out of prison, and I'm not afraid to go back. I'll be that guy. I'll be the
white
uncle.
cutoff T-shirt. We'll give you some henna tattoos.
I'm gonna put the gangster teardrop, fake tattoo on
Make
my
some
face.
comment like, "Hey Pat, later I need to go to my probation officer. He said that I haven't checked in recently, and he's worried." Yeah, mine's also kid related actually, and I'll bring it up since you brought up teaching Claire stuff. And I want to preface my milestone that I'm looking forward to with this. I love my children. And I look forward to each moment I get to spend with them and teach them things and do things. But my favorite, not my favorite, the milestone I'm looking forward to the most is when they both move out and go somewhere else and live. So that Mindy and I can have conversations during dinner time. And we can we can interact with each other and not have this constant battle for attention and other things. I can't wait. I really look forward to it. Not in a way that I'm missing out on what my kids are doing now. I'm totally in 100%, experiencing life with them. I totally, the stuff you brought up, Pat, I totally look forward to that, being a part of that. But the milestone I look forward to the most is when they move out. And it's just Mindy and I again, and we get to really have fun. And it's cheaper. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Me, obviously being in the dating world now and coming on 4 months here, when we have dinner, it's just me and her. Our whole entire lives are just me and her. We can just completely focus on each other, and without interruption. So I'm on the very front end of that part. And I understand it's a very nice thing. You have zero distractions. You just can focus on the other person, and it's just a completely different world. But I think for me, as far as milestones that I'm looking forward to, is I'm looking forward to creating milestones. Because I don't have one specific one that I'm looking forward to now. Mm-hmm. Just creating milestones, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sort of up in the air. I'm excited for the time where, I have my first child. I have my reservations about how I'll be able to handle certain aspects of taking care of a child. But, it'll certainly be an exciting thing one day to have a child.
And we got your back,
own.
buddy. Pat and I'll be there all the way.
Yeah.
I wonder if your child's
he's coming out with a beard.
Mustache.
He's going to be just a huge brown cotton ball, just popping right out of there. He'll just poof out.
Full beard on the kid.
Full on
Frenchman.
werewolf,
Yep.
boy. man. It's funny. Well, do you guys have any other any milestones to touch up on, or does that pretty much cover it? Cover it all. Coveralls. Oof. Have you guys ever worn coveralls?
I think that covers it.
I have not.
I've never owned a pair.
I've never owned
I
I
have.
believe.
You've accidentally owned a pair?
Well, when I was a kid, I think I'm pretty sure I had a pair.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I take that back.
We
Yeah,
were all children in the 80s
That's
at
true.
one point. I mean, we all
yeah,
have
I take
pictures
that
of
back.
those.
I definitely have worn them before. Oh, yeah, good
Denim
stuff.
Wonderland in the
Oh,
80s.
it's the best when you see someone wear jeans and a jean jacket nowadays.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the best. The Canadian
yeah.
tuxedo. Is that what you
Canadian
said?
tuxedo.
Denim dynamos.
Yeah.
All I can think of when I hear somebody say like denim jeans with a denim jacket is that scene in Billy Madison where he first gets to high school and he's got the REO Speedwagon shirt on with the denim jacket and the
He pulls up like a Trans Am.
Oh, that's something special.
I feel like we reference Billy Madison almost every episode.
Billy
One way or
Madison
another.
and Dumb and Dumber.
Tommy Boy, too. All right. Well, that is all for this monumental discussion of milestones in our lives. If you have enjoyed the discussion and hang with us, we would appreciate some positive feedback from you, our listeners. Just take a few minutes, give us an honest review and rating on iTunes or Apple Music or whatever podcast service you use that allows such things. It's just Apple Music now, right? Not iTunes.
We're still with iTunes at this point, but I feel like that's going to
Any
change
moment now.
next
All right.
month.
Huge
When
milestone.
iOS
Huge milestone when it becomes Apple
Yep,
Music.
when iOS 13 comes out.
Yeah. If you've already gotten on there and given us some feedback, rating, review, and you want to go the extra mile, grab your friend or family member's cell phone or tablet right now and find us on their podcast service of choice. Subscribe, leave a rating and review from them. You can kind of guess how they'll feel about it. So just go ahead. Just put it all in there. We would be...
Put the feelers
out there. We would be eternally grateful. Also, remember, if you'd like to join in on future episodes or connect with us in our most lovely GMG community, then check out the show notes, click those links, join our Discord server. Discord. I always say Discord. Every time. Go to our Discord. Just join the Discord server. It's great. We have dad jokes, heartfelt conversations. But if Twitter is more your thing, you can find our handle at the GMG Podcast. Email us also at thegoodmorningguys@gmail.com. Or if you want to practice your radio voice, you can even call us at 929-GMG. What's that last part, Ronnie?
I don't know.
Great. I'm glad you're really making an effort for us. Appreciate it.
Last part of the number or last part of
Life,
something else?
milestones.
I don't know. I don't know that either.
929-GMG. I don't know that either. Or, guys, call in, leave a message, ask a question. Let your voice be heard. You know what else should be heard? Marc's music options. So, Marc, save us with some beautiful music on Spotify.
I will do my best. And as always, you can search out on Spotify the Good Morning Guys morning playlist, as well as on Apple Music. Thank you so much, Bernabe, for handling things on the Apple Music side of things, while I hold down the Spotify side. So for these submissions, or these additions for this week, I tried to go with songs that kind of celebrate, ways you can celebrate milestones, kind of that feeling. And so the songs that I will be adding this week are Queen's "We Are the Champions."
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So
Yes.
if you're celebrating like a milestone, like a game, that you just won, sporting event, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's an older one. It's an '80s tune. Well, so is "We Are the Champions," but Starship's "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us." Have you ever heard that song?
Yep. Nothing's gonna stop us now. No.
How's it go?
And we can build this thing
Oh,
together.
Oh yeah, from Mannequin. Got it.
Nothing's gonna stop us now. From Mannequin. Wow, you're really showing your age there, talking about that movie.
Nailed it.
Mannequin.
And then, of course, Imagine Dragons on Top of the World.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
Cool.
those are the additions for the week.
All right. Well, great and fantastic. All right, folks.
Indeed.
Talk at you again next week on podcast services around the globe as we talk about Marc Boucher's belated birthday topic of choice, which surprisingly is not Superman, but instead
Poppycock.
Is freaking Batman.
it's Poppycock Man himself, a.k.a. Batman. That's right, folks.
There's nothing poppycock about
Nothing
Batman.
at all. Next week, we were talking about Batman, the Caped Crusader, the greatest detective of all time. Alrighty then. Pat, Ronnie J, Mark, and also you, our friends and family that also happen to be our listeners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless your lives. Did I say that right? May God bless your lives.
I don't know.
Just train
You
wreck
sound
right
like
at
you
the
struggled
end.
through that one.
I think it was guide and bless your lives normally,
May
right?
God guide and bless your lives. Oh,
No.
man, that totally... Bleh. So...
Pat will edit
Go
this
get
out.
your, he won't. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, baby. That didn't work at all. How do you
should've
crush these?
Are you supposed to drink it first?
Ow! I pinched my finger. All right, I'm not very good at this. My root
I
beer.
wish we could have got that part on
Too
record.
bad.
Just the video of him drinking.
Yeah. Too bad you didn't record it. Missed opportunity.
Man.